Hey everybody, so after years of using the 4Runner as my kind of moto carrier, I finally decided to get a van, and this will get turned into a Moto-van, but I just wanted to show you guys kind of what it looks like before. We'll see if I turn this into a vlog or if this video just doesn't go anywhere. So the guy that bought it from actually put in some pretty good work. He will admit that he was not a craftsman, but it's already set up as a Moto-van. They put like 50,000 miles on it, going all over the country. It's got kind of a little sink set up here. There's a couple water tanks under here. There's a little fridge. All the electrical stuff is underneath here. There's a kind of a house battery and some other stuff in here. There's solar on the roof. The front seats swivel, which is really handy. This thing turns into a bed of sorts. It's a little short, but it's a thing. And then there's some storage and stuff in here. And this little desk is actually pretty cool. So some of the things that I like are that there's already insulation in the walls and the ceiling. I'm not sure about the floor. I'll have to look. I like that there's already a fan. That's something that I was definitely going to put in. I really like that there's a window because I have a dog, and my dog would be sitting back here somewhere, and she would be very unhappy if she's just sitting in a box and she can't look outside. So that's really cool. Obviously, it's really neat to get some of these components. I'm not going to have a sink or anything, but or at least I'm not planning to. But it's cool to already have a fridge and a bunch of electrical stuff. So my plan is to put a partition in. This is a Sprinter 144, so it's the short version. So what I'm going to do is put a partition in, kind of where as long as it needs to be for the bike to fit in. So it will have to be kind of a little bit past the door, which will leave me kind of with this area here is more of the living quarters. So there is going to be some sort of sleeping situation here, probably some sort of little cooking situation. I'm thinking just put a microwave in for making quick meals on the go, which will be handy since I have power. There's also, I haven't mentioned, there's solar on the roof. So there's 400 watts of solar, so there's a lot of electricity available. In back here is going to be kind of the garage area. Nothing fancy, but yeah, so I'm about to start taking stuff out of here, so I just wanted to make kind of a quick video of what all this stuff looks like beforehand. The seat swiveling is really cool, especially since I'm not going to have a ton of room back here. It will be really neat to have the seats turn around and give a little more seating space if you've got more than one person. And this is a box with a fire extinguisher in it, which is kind of cool. Yeah, the guy that I bought it from was a really cool dude, so it was like kind of lucked out with the specific van that I got, which is pretty sweet. So this is the water setup. It's nothing fancy. There's actually a black water tank, although I'm kind of pretty sure it just drains on the ground. And then this is a foot pump, which I've never seen this kind of setup before. So you just pump it, and then it grabs the water from this tank and shoots it out the faucet. Kind of interesting. Alright, so in this little cupboard here, we've got all electrical stuff. So we have a marine battery that's bolted down. There's a whole bunch of fuses and fuse boxes. The solar controller is back there for the solar. I have all the power turned off now. There's a battery disconnect switch. There is a DC to DC battery charger, which I believe he said is not hooked up because they just use solar the whole time. And then there's also this thing, which also looks like a battery charger, so I'm not sure exactly what that is for. So there's Oh, this is shore power. That's probably what that is. There's a shore power plug on the outside of the van, so that would make sense. So yeah, there's a video for my own documentation too, since I'm going to be taking a bunch of this stuff out. And there's a bunch of just kind of automotive grade fuses over here too. And it's nice to see that there's a bunch of sound insulation on the wheel wells. I'm really curious if there's sound insulation behind the heat insulation in the walls. I don't know if there is. It's kind of hard to tell. There's a lot of vibrations here in general. So we'll take all this stuff off, see what's back there. Hopefully there is sound insulation there, because I'm pretty sure this installation is glued in. There's insulation on the doors, so it makes sense that there's insulation on the walls as well. And then I actually really dig this like lightweight little tapestry artwork stuff. It's kind of my vibe, so I'm gonna definitely keep these, stick them in the living room area. All my stuff's usually real sterile, so this will be kind of cool to actually have something fun going on. So the other thing that's kind of cool is that, so I looked at a lot of Transits, ProMasters, other stuff, but I didn't look until Sprinters until last little bit, and I'm glad I did, because I somehow ended up with a pretty loaded Sprinter. So it's got, you know, all the radar, cruise control, and this fancy touchscreen thing, which we'll see how well that ages, but right now it is a very nice vehicle to drive. It feels very modern. It's actually pretty quiet in here. It's not quite as quiet as the 4Runner, but it's a nice place to be in, especially if you're doing a long trip like I do pretty frequently. So I'm pretty excited to take it on the road a bit. So living in Michigan, this is also kind of nice to see. There's no rust. It's a 2019, so it's I guess 4 years old, and there's a little bit of surface rust here and there, but very little even surface rust just here on some of the suspension stuff. And I'll probably get this oil sprayed at some point before the winter, just to keep it kind of nice under here, because again, driving on salt, it just wrecks all your vehicles here in Michigan. But right now it's pretty mint. So I found something interesting. This was taped up here. It's some sort of map, or if it's for treasure. Let's take a look. Interesting. Pretty useless, but kind of funny. Alright, some good progress. We got this box of electrical, got all the stuff out, and I'm getting an idea of how I'm going to fit everything in here. So it's definitely going to be creative. Got a couple options. So I think option one is I'm not going to keep this thing, but I'm going to have like a 2/3 length little bench for my dog to sit on, and so I can put the fridge next to it. So the seat swivel, so option one is to just kind of unfold a bed into the front, and there's right about 6 feet there, so that's doable. And option two is to actually make the wall here kind of L-shaped, so it'll go like this and then up to the ceiling, so it gives me a little shelf, and then have a bed go, it's 6 feet right to about this thing, which will be handy. So that could work as well. Alright, disassembly progress. I think we're almost done. Got all my box with mostly just electrical stuff, big garbage bags of stuff all over, and this is what the van looks like currently. So I'll show you guys. I've got I pulled out all the wiring because my wiring is going to be in a different place, so I didn't really need any of this stuff that was already pulled through. And I kind of want to redo it anyway, just so I know where everything is. Got the floors and the walls out there. So I'm going to use different flooring and walls, and I'll show you guys kind of what I've found here. So there's pretty good insulation on the walls. Might want to secure this in some other way. Might put some more stuff in these holes here. I'm thinking maybe if I can find some soft insulation to stuff in there. And then there's a couple other spots like back here that I kind of want to stuff something just so it's not a big air gap back here. And then the floor actually underneath this thing, this is the stock cover, has the same sheet of insulation. There's you can see they put sound deadening in places, which is cool. It's actually, you know, pretty nice in here right now. It's really hot outside and the van's out in the sun and it's staying reasonably cool. Got a little breeze going. It's some benefit of having a white van. So this insulation is working really well. Like you can feel the sides of the van are actually pretty warm, but this insulation is just keeping the heat out, which is cool. Electrical box is going to be in the front. It's going to be underneath the little seat box I'm going to make in here, and that's where we're going to put it. This is just leftovers from the flooring, and I'm going to run probably a couple runs of electrical back here. Not gonna go too crazy just because I don't really need electricity in the garage. Realistically, I might want to charge something or plug something in. So my idea is I might put a just a 12-volt socket back here. I'll do like a SAE connector to a 12-volt socket back here, just so I have some options. Maybe do one on each side or something, but actually I probably don't need one on each side. So just one on this side, since that's where all the wiring is, and not go too crazy. There's already lighting back here. Which should be plenty good, although I guess this light might get covered depending how far I go with the bed. If this light doesn't get covered, then I have light back here, which again, I'm not hanging out back here, so I don't really need that much light. I just need enough light to load the bike, so this should be sufficient. If it's not, I might put a another set of lights underneath the little cubby hole, and that should probably be good. If anything, it would be nice to have maybe lighting on the outside, but that's a whole other thing. So that's kind of my plan. So that's pretty much it for the first episode of the blog, and yeah, I'll hopefully this will make it into a little serious, and the second episode I'm gonna be putting in the wall.